Yo, what is good, y'all? Welcome this week's episode of Talks with TVBOO. Welcome this week's episode of the podcast. Hope you're all having a great week, and I appreciate y'all being here, man. We got a really fucking cool episode for y'all today. Before I introduce this guest, I just got to go ahead and tell y'all, I just had some new merch drop today. We got some new keychains, new booty shorts, tab booty shorts, some Hoochie Daddy gym shorts, and what else we got? We got a pin, and then we're doing an open pre-order on a new NASCAR jacket. All that stuff came out today. That is NASCAR jackets. They are on pre-order. I know last time we only printed like an X amount just because we had no idea who was wanting to buy one, and they sold out instantly. Everything sold out instantly. So those we're doing a pre-order. Everything else is limited edition. So y'all make sure to go pick up some of that merch. I can't wait to see y'all rocking it on tour. Speaking of tour, I'm going on tour in 2.5 weeks. I'm leaving in 2 weeks to go do pre-production. But, man, it's my first bus headline tour called Daisy Dukes and Cowboy Boots. We got a hell of a support. We're going all over the place, and I've been working non-stop. I've not left my studio, just working non-stop to make sure it is the best, most fun show y'all attend this fall. But, enough with all that. My guest this week is somebody who is very important to the Denver music scene and just the music scene in general. This is another one of those behind-the-scene episodes. I know a lot of y'all really like it when I talk to these people who make things happen behind the scenes. And this lady right here gets shit done and doesn't take shit from anybody, and she does it her own way, and I respect it. She is the owner of a venue out here in Denver called the Black Box, and she is the owner of an agency that some of your favorite artists are under called Sub.Mission. And, man, I really enjoyed this conversation. I hope y'all do, too. This is my first time getting to sit down and talk with her. It's my first time ever meeting her, and we had a great conversation. I'm going to fuck up her last name, so I'm not even going to try. So, ladies and gentlemen, Nicole C.
Come here, girl, 'cause that ass fat. Let me take my tongue and go around your dirt track. I met a girl and her booty tastes like strawberries. I swear to God, this could be the one that I marry. Hey, hey, and she's so damn fine. I need that from behind. I met a girl and her booty tastes like strawberries.
What's up, dude?
What's up?
Thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You were just telling me, though, I wanted to, kind of continue this conversation, like what we were having right before we got started. 2 years sober,
Yeah.
and you were talking about, being at the Black Box with... Actually, before we get into that,
Yeah.
maybe we should start earlier.
Okay.
For the people who don't know who you are and what you do, tell
Yeah.
the folks who you are and what you do.
My name's Nicole Cacciavillano.
Pause. How do you say that last name?
I'm like, pause. Cacciavillano.
Cacciavillano?
Yep.
Damn.
Quite Italian.
Yeah.
Used to be a teacher, so call me Miss C if you want.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm sorry for interrupting. I just had to get
it's
it
all
right.
good. No, it's good. I appreciate that, actually.
Yeah.
It gets butchered, I'm sure, as you can imagine. The name. But yeah, 2 years sober. Every now and again I'll have a drink if I'm, at a special occasion or dinner, but I'm just... haven't really been feeling it,
Yeah. Yeah, that's why we ain't drinking today, dude. I'm not feeling it today.
You had a good weekend?
It was a great weekend.
Yeah, good.
Really great weekend. I'm tired still somehow. Slept fine last night.
That's what Mondays are for.
Yeah, I'm still somehow tired. But yeah, for the people who don't know who you are and what you do, explain to the people who you are and what you do.
Wow, my name's Nicole. I own the Black Box and Sub.Mission agency and Sub.Mission events. I've been throwing dubstep events in Colorado for almost 20 years and represent the underground.
You do.
Yeah.
That you do. Your venue's fucking it is the underground den, dude.
It is the underground den.
Damn. I mean, there's so much to go into today with you and what you're doing. I mean, I guess the main thing is, I guess maybe start at the Black Box, man.
Okay.
You said you had that for, 20 years?
Oh, no, Black Box is turning 8 in November.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, damn, it's already made such a big name for itself.
Crazy.
Yeah, I remember just whenever I lived in the South, everybody, Black Box, everyone knew about it. The reputation's huge.
It's pretty amazing, honestly, and very humbling. So it was my dream for a very long time to own a venue. After throwing events and being able to have the opportunity to do so has been pretty pretty amazing and pretty stressful, but
I can imagine. How hard is it running because this is the base capital.
yes.
And, I haven't lived here forever, but I'm assuming it hasn't always been.
Yeah, no,
but,
it hasn't.
Right, but like owning a venue out here
Yeah.
where there's so much going on every single night, whether it's just like Red Rocks, Mission, Cervantes, the Ogden, like Real Works, it's like
Everything.
But somehow all the shows will still be packed.
I know. I don't know where all the people come from,
Yeah.
or what they do, but they definitely show up and support, which is amazing. I think only in Denver could something like this exist, and could it happen. I've talked with running the agency, obviously, I talk to promoters all the time, and it's a whole different story in a lot of cities, so I think we're pretty lucky.
I've talked to some agents and they're like, yeah, dude, Denver isn't real.
It's not real. It's not. The amount of money people make here, how many people exist, what happens on a regular basis. It's just like this anomaly that you can't base your career off
And
of.
somehow it's like the one market where artists can come like 4 or 5 times a year and it's chill.
Shit, 7, 8
Yeah,
times.
and
You
it's
kidding me? Yeah, I know. It's every single time. I think that is starting to change a little bit, though. Like I think with the economy and just people kind of getting older, like they are being a bit more selective on like what events they're going to and where they're spending their money. So, I'm curious to see what's going to happen in Denver in the next couple of years, to be honest. But,
Yeah, I mean, that's a good place to go, especially like you said, the economy getting bad and stuff. Like, do you see a reflection of that in like ticket sales at the Black Box? Like, how do you counteract things like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest things has been the people spending money at the bar. People,
Just a little closer to you.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
People aren't drinking as much as they used to. And owning a venue, unfortunately, most of your money comes from the profit of a bar. The door money pretty much pays for the expenses of a show and the astronomical DJ fees these days. So, people aren't drinking as much. So one of the things that we did, myself included, and so one of the things that we did was really up our non-alcoholic menu and mocktails and really kind of honed in the market on different avenues for people to come to the venue and buy 2 Capri Suns instead of 2 PBRs,
I was just about to say that, dude. I'd be fucking crushing those Capri Suns when I come up to Black Box.
Me too. Now we just made these mocktail versions of adult Capri Suns where you can add alcohol if you want.
Whoa.
But they come in these little pouches. They're pretty awesome.
Whoa. Fucking those things, the amount of sugar in those things, you probably hate yourself the next day.
Seriously. These ones are gluten-free and all organic and very health conscious.
Very Denver.
Very Denver. Exactly. I think as far as ticket sales, people aren't really buying pre-sales anymore. I think it's across the board, across the country, actually across the world, everyone I talk to everywhere. So, it's one of those things with owning a venue where when you're a promoter and you're only throwing like one event a month, it's only like one mini heart attack a month. But now owning a venue, it's just like, at first it was like 5 to 7 heart attacks a week. But then you just kind of get used to it and like, okay, pre-sales are going to double. This is what's going to, then wherever your pre-sales are, walk up doubles from there, and you can just kind of tailor your offers to match what's happening in the scene, So.
It's stressful as hell.
Stressful.
Because like there'll be some markets that I go play and it's like a big venue and they're like, dude, we crushed the pre-sales. We had 100 pre-sales. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? They're like, no one buys pre-sales anymore.
Yeah.
Trust me, the show's going to be fine. You're
Totally.
like, yeah, everybody listening, go buy fucking pre-sales.
Seriously.
Everyone can sleep better at night.
Seriously. You get a
And-
better show, people can know that they have a job,
Yeah.
know that they can work, the artists can focus on their music.
Yeah.
So,
How many shows, like, could you, I mean, because if you have like a just run of shows where it's just lost,
Yeah.
like how long can something like that be sustained?
it can't be. I mean, the issue is on top of that is the expenses these days are just off the chart, like the cost of living in Denver is higher. So our minimum wage and what we have to pay staff has to be higher. Obviously, I want to pay my staff well so that they stay at the venue, and I look for quality employees because then we get better quality experiences for the consumer. But, distribution costs, how much it costs for a case of, liquor compared to what it cost 8 years ago is like almost double. Now we're paying tax on everything, gas tax, surcharges on this, 1 cup costs $1.10 now, it's like 1 plastic cup. So it's just, utilities are going up, everything just continues to go up and up and up, including the DJ fees, and so it makes owning a smaller venue even more difficult, you know? Honestly, it makes owning any venue difficult, but there's a lot to take into account, you know?
Yeah, like, what's a way to like combat all this? Like just raising, other than just raising a ticket price
Which you
or a
don't
drink?
want to do, right?
Right,
I mean,
right.
that's like, it is so unfortunate because the number one way to do it is you have to raise your ticket prices, or like a lot of the larger venues, you'll see like $45 fees for a ticket, you know, which we all know goes into the pocket of, you know, whoever's throwing that event or whatnot. Or raise your drink prices. But like really there can only be a cap, because if you raise your ticket prices too high, people aren't going to pay for the ticket. If you raise your alcohol too high, people aren't going to drink, you know? So it's finding the middle ground, and I think just like really focusing on the experience and like what they're paying for, you know? You're paying $25 a ticket. Well, what is that for? For us, we like to build out the lineup, you know, from start to finish. And we never used to post our time slots because, in my opinion, everyone that I book on a lineup is worth listening to. And
Whenever
we're seeing.
people hit me up about time slots, I'm like, doors are at 8:30.
Exactly.
That's what I always say. I won't tell them.
It's so important,
Yeah.
you know? And like, you know, you get the cool Denver kids who roll in at 11 just for the headliner, but like sometimes they miss the best sets of the night, you know, because those kids are like curating sets specifically for this moment. You know?
Yeah.
And you'll never get that again.
Those hungry ass up and comers
100%.
might be the next best big thing, dude.
They are the next best thing. You
Yeah.
know? Like that's one of the things. Like I run a weekly called Electronic Tuesdays.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be 15 years old this year. And
Jesus.
yeah,
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday. I've literally watched kids grow up in Electronic Tuesdays. Like people like Millennium, DMVU, you know, like people have played their very first DJ sets ever on the stage of that night, you know? People who are now like selling out the biggest stadiums in the country.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, Millennium's the damn Taylor Swift of dance music now.
Straight
Yeah, you know, he's doing
I know.
arenas.
I know.
That's
It's
insane.
crazy. It's crazy. But just to like see how, you know, how something like that does provide opportunities for people is like kind of what I do this for, you know.
Yeah. Dude, running a weekly. I mean, I was a promoter down in Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah.
And I would throw one show a month.
Yep.
And that was a bitch. But I was also in a weird market where like
I was gonna say, how is it down there in Mississippi?
it was rough. But it was fun.
Yeah, I bet.
You know, but dude, I mean, even like in New Orleans, we had a weekly down there. It's called Base Church.
Yep, I know it. Eric.
Yeah, Eric at the Dragon Den.
Yep.
But that, I mean, that's like one of the hardest things to do is a weekly. Like you can have like every tour and come through, but the hardest thing is a weekly, especially on a Tuesday.
I know. And it's harder now, now that Denver is so oversaturated, because people be partying Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. They're just waking up. You know, Tuesday, they're like, hell no, we're not going out, you know? So, but 15 years ago was a whole different scene here, you know? It wasn't like what it is now. And like I was the only one throwing dubstep parties. And Tuesdays made sense because I was only a monthly at that point, and so many people would be like, oh, I want to DJ for you, I want to DJ for you, you know? And I'm kind of one of those people that needs to see you DJ for me to actually want to book you and put money in your pocket, you know, or even give you the stage, because there's, you know, it's important that we actually showcase skill.
Yeah.
And so that's what Tuesdays is. It's a DJ battle where right now they're competing for a black box residency, and so it's three kids every single night. Every single Tuesday, I should say, and they're playing 30-minute sets each. One winner, they move on like brackets, like you know, like a basketball
tournament,
championship tournament.
Yeah.
You know? So it's cool. We get to kind of find a lot of really cool people.
Yeah, that is cool. Dude, residents are fucking important.
So important.
Like I know, like whenever I first got like my first residency, like it you just learn so much, and like you said, like the people there were literally watching me grow up and figure it out little by little. But without that residency, I don't know if I would have had that confidence or just like that you know, just gave me something to look forward to every time, something to work towards.
Totally.
You know?
Totally. And I think too, just having people that understand, like picking the right residents is so important for your brand. It's people who understand what the mission is, who stand by the mission, you know, who can get up there and represent not only themselves, you know, but the sound that you're trying to push. And like for us back then, like underground dubstep, you know, like no one knew what the hell that was, you know, like it was completely like, you know, no one knew, right? So we had to build it, and in order to build it, I needed the soldiers, and that's kind of where the residents come into play, right?
And now the underground dubstep is just, they'll be at Red Rocks now.
Oh yeah, totally.
Fucking, what's it been like watching this scene in Denver? Like when
we have another podcast, just we need like 5 hours for that.
Like when was like the breaking point, you think?
Oh man, so I started throwing events prior to Sub.Mission just to try to like test the water, right? Like, are people gonna like dubstep? Because it was at that time like Triad Dragons and like Reload and Recon, like throwing electronic music, and some house and stuff, but it's not really my world, so more power to them. No disrespect.
Yeah.
That's, this is where these are the people that were doing things in the world that I was living in. And so I would like insert dubstep DJ in said reggae event, insert dubstep DJ in said drum and bass event, just to see people's reactions. And at that time, everybody at the reggae events, people were like into it. At drum and bass events, they just kind of left the room. It was too slow for them.
Oh, drum and bass people, they can be some judgy folks.
Oh, hell yeah.
I remember back in Mississippi, man, I remember just trying to gain the respect of some old drum and bass heads, and they were just...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hardcore jungle.
By the time I got the respect, I'm like, dude, I don't care.
Yeah, I know. That's the problem,
Yep.
And it's like, and they're not afraid to say exactly how they feel, right?
And that's
it's
why I
like,
respect them.
Me too, 100%. And like straight up turn around and walk out the room. So I'm like, sweet, this is gonna be a little harder than I thought, you know. And so, as I did that, slow and steady, then I would be like, okay, I'm gonna throw my first event, like official event. And it went off. It was amazing, like the vibes were great, and like kind of slowly trickled. It'd go around to like any bar in Denver that had a dance floor and would let us bring in a sound system, because no one could understand why their sound systems, the 2-powered JBL subs, and wasn't enough for what, and they'd like be offended, So took a while, and then finally started gaining some stamina and had some people who trusted us, which was great. And it really started kicking off. And I'd say like we went through the basement of Vinyl. We went through when our beta opened. Upstairs was the Beatport Lounge, and so we were up there for a while. And we would then move to the main floor, but at that point, the main floor beta, they didn't have any soundproofing around, and so the neighbors were like not feeling it on a Wednesday night, and so they basically turned the volume down and like expected us to have a bass night with like no sub, So at that point, I found Cervantes, and that kind of became our home for a while, and so for a few years, no one, like, we were selling out Cervantes, and like no one even knew this little scene existed. And by little at this point, I mean like 1,600 kids at a party, And
that's a great party.
Best great party, best vibes, best memories, best time.
Yeah.
Like if I could rewind my life, that's exactly the era I'd be going to, And I guess probably around 2010, end of 2010, beginning of 2011 is kind of when it became out of control. It was just like dubstep. Everybody wanted dubstep. AEG started kind of like coming around, asking me what was going on. Cervantes, the kids wanted it. All different sounds were coming out. It's when like Excision and Datsik really started coming around, started booking the different sounds, not just the underground stuff. And the city just kind of like exploded. And that is when Denver became the bass capital. It was just insane. I couldn't keep up with one show. There was like 5 shows a week. And like being the only promoter at that time, I was a teacher, so I'd be like struggling in life, trying to like give my kids the attention they deserve. And I was teaching kids that were like juvenile delinquents, so like
an alternative school or something.
Well, I was teaching at George Washington High School in a program called Affective Needs, and it's for kids with social, emotional, or behavior problems. So I had the behavior problem kids. A lot of my kids were in like Gilliam Youth Center or like different types of alternative settings that I would have to go to. But my main job was to keep them out of those types of settings. So it was really difficult to like be out until 3 a.m., maybe even longer, who can actually fall asleep immediately when they come home from a party, So 5 a.m. going to bed, waking up at 6, going into school, you know what I mean? And then like rinse and repeat. So it was about that time I decided to quit teaching and kind of take on music full time.
Have you had any of the students get old enough and then come to your shows?
Heck yeah.
Hell yeah,
I
dude.
love it. And they still call me Miss C.
I love it, dude. I had an old teacher come see my band
Yeah,
once. I ran into, she was my 5th grade teacher.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I ran into her at a bar one night. She came and saw my band.
That's awesome. I mean, I think that's great. And I think, you know, back then I would like walk into school and my mailbox would be full of like newspapers that like there would be an article about Sub.Mission or something in there. And nobody understood it, you know? And I was like, I didn't have as many tattoos, but I had tattoos. And so it was definitely like, I was definitely looked on a bit differently, you know what I mean, than now, which I think is great. You know, nowadays you'll see teachers like fully tatted, doing whatever they want, you know? There's not as much judgment, but I think the times have kind of changed, you know? We got some of the older teachers out and people aren't judged as much by what they look like these days, hopefully.
So I want to know, so like, I know whenever like New Orleans first started getting a scene, they were getting like busted by the feds, like after like the Rave Act came around and stuff. Like it was like very hard in the South, especially for some reason, because I know Disco Donnie was like the main one doing it back in the day. Well, did you have any issues like that in Denver in the beginning?
I didn't personally, but very much so was here prior to me starting. Denver definitely had a lot of trouble with the Rave Act. That was more like the Hall and the Triad Dragon stuff that was kind of going down for that. A lot of the club plays and smaller venues, like it was way too small of a scene at that point for people to even know like what was happening. And by 2010, 2011, that stuff didn't exist anymore.
Oh.
Well, I grew up in Philly, and so in Philly, coming to Denver, that is like what we fought. You know, it was very difficult. There was like one club, Fluid, and I was in a drum and bass, or like a club called Space, which was basically owned and run by the mafia.
In Philly or here?
In Philly, yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, it was fun. And like, you know, the cake tables where it's like the coke, acid, ketamine, and ecstasy, where they confiscate everything from everybody and then sell their own drugs inside. It was like crazy times there, you know, like the security was like literally the mafia. It was a very interesting time, hence why the feds and a lot of different places, you know, those types of places got into a lot of trouble back then.
Yeah.
So, but things have kind of changed, I think. You know, it's become more of a culture. I mean, shit, dubstep's on Target commercials, you know?
Dude, yeah. I mean, I was in I was in Target, and I heard like a dubstep track. I was like, this is wild, man.
I know. I mean, I'm sure people can get paid money right now to just like write music for Target.
It's not.
Where's that sync music at?
That's not gonna stay.
No.
With AI and stuff.
Oh, no,
They can
I
just
know.
get all the stuff they want, which is a
Man.
bummer because I missed out on that check.
Well, I know. A lot of people have missed out on that. Speaking of AI, I know this is your podcast, but let me ask you a question. Just like, does that scare you as a producer, you know? Because like I've been seeing people like literally talk, I'm like new to the AI thing, you know? And I like to stay away from technology a lot these days. And so, but people were telling me that you can like ask AI, make me an album that sounds like this person and this person.
You can't use specific names.
Okay.
But you have to. But you could be like a '90s grunge gospel. You could mixed with drum and bass. You could say the wildest shit.
Wow.
And then
It makes it.
it makes it like fully mixed master with vocals, a whole hook.
Wow.
Like country music, I think they're just getting their lyrics from AI at this point, dude. You know,
Probably.
just beer and dirt roads, dude. It'll spit out a country song. It'll spit out a hit. Is it scary? A little. It's kind of scary. It's
Yeah.
definitely like a tool, right? So like, you know, Ahi. He came and stayed, and he was showing me all the AI stuff, and it's definitely like another tool that you could use if you're
Okay.
kind of in a rut. I definitely think there's going to be a lot of artists out there who are going to try to pass off songs that are theirs that aren't.
Totally.
But stuff like that, like it's just making generic stuff. I don't know if that's going to stick. I think live entertainment in a weird way might be one of the safest things
Yeah.
because people tend to care about the person or like the brand. You know what I mean? Like someone can spit out a song, but having somebody up there performing it and with like a whole show ready to go, like I think that's going to be okay, but it's going to mess up like streaming stuff. I definitely think it's going to mess up like licensing. Holy shit, say that fast 5 times. I can't even say it once. But like I think it's going to mess up all that, commercials, all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I do agree with you too, as well as like the live performance. You know, like part of the longevity of a career is building the foundation with your fans and your followers. And like, I also feel like our fans and followers are very educated these days themselves. You know, and so seeing somebody get up there, you know, you have to be able to actually perform these songs too, not just ask AI to create it, right? So I'm hoping that we don't see it as much and that it's easily distinguished if we do.
It's going to get harder as time goes by.
I know.
You know, like I definitely think it's going to affect like a lot of visual artists.
Yeah.
I mean, even like my VJ is using it to like create, you know, video stuff, which is fantastic, makes our life a lot easier. But it's like another tool. You know, and there's a lot of people using it for businesses. Have you started working, like, have you thought about using it at all? Like, all right, where can we scrape some more profit here and just, like, enter, like, your books into AI? Like, it can help with that type of stuff, which is kind of nuts.
Yeah, that's crazy. A friend of mine actually was just talking about how we can use AI to automate a bunch of emails. Like, instead of us sending thanks for applying for electronic, you know, like, that we can basically use AI to, like, do half of our job, you know? And I was like, oh, interesting. I mean, I do like the personal part, you know, but I think I'd have to do learn a little bit more about how to implement it into my business.
Yeah. Well, how hands-on are you right now with the Black Box? Like, are you at all the shows are you at all the battles too? Like, how hands-on are you?
Yeah, so up until, I mean, pretty much every day I work, you know, like 10 hours plus, you know. I'm doing all the talent buying for both of the rooms, plus any submission events that happen outside of the Black Box. I run the business. I do the hiring. I do the scheduling. I mean, I pretty much do everything, as you know. I pretty much do a lot. I have someone who does the marketing and someone who does all the advancing and, like, production stuff. And also have someone who helps me with the day-to-day. 2 years ago, my cat, poor little Mia, I love her dearly, but she got pretty sick. She got diagnosed with diabetes and then had 5 different types of cancer in like 1 year.
Whoa.
And so I went from being at every event to move, and so it means I have to wake up at 6 a.m. every day. And so I went from being at every event to kind of switching my role to being more of like the day-to-day, like there every day, and then showing up at events, but basically after her second insulin shot, just for like until about midnight, you know, and then going home, getting some sleep, and waking back up at 6. So as far as going to events these days, I do show up to Tuesdays, and I do show up to as many events as I can during the week. Just kind of depends on Mia. Yesterday she had a low day, so I couldn't leave my house. Had to test her every day, well, you know, every couple hours. So it's been a big responsibility on top of multiple responsibilities, but I have an amazing team, and they've helped me kind of make a shift. So.
Do you have kids or anything, or just a cat?
Yeah, just cats. No
That's
kids.
nice.
I have a lot of kids that come between all the people that come to the Black Box, you know, I do feel like they are my children, you know, like in just the way of like how stressful and how, you know, everyone who walks in there, they're our responsibility, you know, so regardless of what happens, you know, like if something does happen to them inside, it does fall back on us. And so that's about all the stress of other people that I can handle in my life, you know. And
has it gotten more stressful? Like, you're talking about like keeping people safe, because I mean, like fentanyl has been like a major problem coming into you know, all of the United States. Like, how much have you seen that as a business owner?
Oh man, I mean, luckily, like about 2 years ago when I was making the switch in my life, I hired a new venue manager, Morgan Jones. Shout out Morgan, she's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And she helped me clean the Black Box up. Like, it was night and day, you know? Having the right team to do the job that's not afraid to tell kids, like, look, you got powders around your nose, you got to go. 2 people in a bathroom stall, you got to go. Like, that shit ain't, no one's dying on our watch, you know? If someone was to die in the Black Box, I would not be able to reopen, you know? Like, that wouldn't be something I could walk into that space and have the same feeling about anymore. But I think the biggest thing is for us has been to set a good example that we can create a space that's more and just about the music, because that's what the whole point of the Black Box was. And having the team behind it to really emphasize that and has really attracted more people that are there for the music and less of the kids who, you know, trying to shot their drugs or like do their drugs and stuff. So it's kind of changed the culture, which has been a very positive thing. So
One thing that's really cool about the Black Box, because it is kind of like y'all definitely cater to the underground, and I feel like a lot more of the underground crowd is a little older, a little bit more responsible, not so much of like the new age like raisers who just got into dance music. So yeah, I could see how like it'd just be a little safer being around folks like that too.
totally. And just knowing that like, you know, and we're very open. Like if there is a problem or something's happening, like please come and talk to us. You know, we're definitely here to help. And, you know, we've definitely seen more people like on ketamine, you know what I mean? I think it's been the bigger problem for us than like obviously fez and everything, you know, but we haven't luckily ran into too many incidences in our club. We have like little things that you can put on top of your drinks to protect anybody from putting anything into your drinks, and test strips and like Narcan all over the venue, you know, in case we do run into some incidences here and there. But really for me, I was like cleaning up the ketamine, you know, because like what DJ wants to play to a room full of zombies?
Nobody.
You know?
I'll tell you that, dude.
No, it's a vibe killer, and like who even wants to, yeah, it's just
Oh, I'll talk shit.
good.
I will. I'll talk. I've done it.
Yeah.
I've been to a crowd where zombies. I'm like, you
Yeah.
guys fucking suck. I don't know why I came all the way here for you guys to be
Seriously.
sitting down.
Good. You should. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the thing, is that we need people to speak up about this. I think there's been so many missed opportunities from drug overdoses or issues that like weren't addressed properly because we need to hide why they died or hide what happened, you know, to protect, you know, the reputation. But everybody knows what happened, you know, like let's use this as a learning curve. Like you just seen such and such die from a drug overdose, but yet you're still coming here claiming that you're like this person's #1 fan and you're sitting here on drugs. You know what I mean? Like, I just think that you have to be the change you want to see, right? So
Yeah, I feel like festivals missed that mark too. Some of them, like there was a massive festival. We don't have to use the name,
Yeah.
but they were told like the bunk police they could not come in.
Oh.
They banned them that year, and then
Yeah.
there was like tons and tons of overdoses, a couple deaths, and it's just like you guys had the opportunity to like, you know, let's not promote the use, but let's not pretend it's not fucking happening.
right,
you know?
exactly. Yeah, that's a missed opportunity for sure. Because, I mean, the end of the day, the rave culture has always been associated with drugs. Hence why I think the feds and the police were always involved. And that's not anything that's going to change, you know? I mean, these kids are drinking, they're partying, they want to feel good, you know, and that comes with the territory until they get older and wiser and realize that, you know, they could still feel good just by the vibrations of the sound system or just by being with their friends or whatever. But, like, it's our job to protect these people, you know? Like, and it is our job to, like, speak up. So good for you for doing that.
Oh, dude, I mean, and it ain't just the dancing anymore, dude. You know, I'll go to a country music show and pop a Molly, dude. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Fucking go see Morgan Wallen and feel on myself, you know?
It's everywhere. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I think it always has been, though, you know? And I just think that it's important, you know, for everybody to kind of understand that. And it's not that, like, we should be telling people drugs are bad or whatever, you know? Like, we all do drugs. We've all done drugs, you know, whatever. It's a part of kind of, like, growing up for some people, you know? But we should be able to provide protection for those who are choosing to indulge in whatever the drug of choice is, you know? So by, like, having things like bunk police or not providing Narcan or test strips or whatever, I think it's just irresponsible, you know?
Yeah, I agree, man, for sure. But to switch, dude, so we're talking about hands-on.
Yeah.
Your talent buying, I mean, you've been doing it just at the Black Box. You said it's just about to turn 8.
Yep.
But, I mean, how many shows do y'all do a week?
Well, 8 shows a week. So we have 2 rooms at the Black Box, the lounge and the main room. And so we do Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Some random weeks like last, we have a special guest Wednesday pop-up type situation. And then on Sundays, we try to do what we call Sunday school. So we have different producers come in and teach lessons, on specific things to whoever signs up to come. So it could be up to 10 events a week.
That's wild.
It's crazy.
How much do you have to have your ear to the ground? I mean, because, there's... just in this market, so many fucking artists, but just in the
Totally.
whole country. Like,
Totally.
how are you finding people? Like, is there submissions? Like, are you just constantly searching, like asking your residents, who are you playing these days? Like,
Yeah, a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
We have the agency, which is great. And so we're very close with all the artists on our agency, and kind of like we talk, all the time just about music in general, and different artists who are kind of like catching their ear. I listen to their sets. I ask questions. When I'm at shows, I'm listening to sets, like recording parts, so I can ask the DJ who this was. The E-Tuesday battles and E-Tuesdays play a huge role in helping me know the up-and-coming locals. And then I do get people who hit me up, and just say, hey, I'm on tour or whatever, or I'm a local from Mississippi and I want to come play the Black Box, So.
I'm a local from Mississippi. That's funny.
Yep. So, yeah, it's cool. I mean, it is definitely a lot of work, and it has definitely become more and more work the older I get, like it's insane because they just keep coming, there's just music. It's so much more now a part of an individual's life from such a young age, like when I was in, up until 8th grade, even in high school, like there was no electronic music classes in school, Now we have kids like Musophonics, who's like 12 years old, I think, 11 years old, and he's like making insane music, playing Mission Ballroom with Shaq and shit.
Yeah, so neat.
So it's just like a whole different generation, I'm a board member for a company called a nonprofit called the Boredom Fighters, and one of their missions is to bring music into classrooms. And so like I'll get to go to middle schools around the corner from my house and watch them bring something called the Instrument Garden in there, teach kids how to make beats, using different instruments and stuff, and just really trying to give them alternatives to, maybe making the bad choices or sports or whatever, So I think kids it's so much more accessible these days, and so it's going to be pretty crazy. Like, if I'm 50 years old, I'm going to have to now keep my eye on 15-year-olds, you know what I mean?
That's a weird thing to say.
It's so weird. I know. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Try being a female having to do that.
Right. Oh, my goodness. Kyle, do you remember the company that Import was working with? Was it the Boredom Fighters too? I don't think it was the Boredom Fighters.
No.
I had Import on the other week, and he was with some organization out here where they go and teach. They're like, there's something camp. They're called something camp.
Oh, yeah, that might be the Boredom Fighters. They do a summer camp up in up at the YMCA up in the mountains, and so they just had a camp for like 2 weeks.
Okay, that must have been it too. Yeah, and we had Import on. He was telling us about that. That's fucking cool as shit, dude.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Well, we didn't back home. I didn't know any producers. I mean, they taught me how to play the little recorder. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's about the extent of our music
Twinkle,
class.
Twinkle, little star.
Yeah, dude.
Right?
But that was about the extent of that. But yeah, man, the talent buying, especially with you being so busy, especially with the agency and running the venue. I don't know. Were you ready to open that venue when you opened it? Like how? Like what prepared you to do that? Like I'm gonna open up a fucking venue.
I mean, honestly, I wasn't prepared. Like I've never worked in the service industry or have done anything other than be a teacher. And then the promoting part was like booking artists that I wanted to hear them. When I first started, it was like if there was certain songs I liked, I had to book certain DJs who had that song to come and play, right? Mm-hmm. And so as the industry kind of grew and things got bigger, the promotion became like the full-time job, but I was always in venues, so I kind of like saw how they worked, right? But as it got even bigger and the corporation started getting involved, I kind of also started to see that side of the music industry and realized very quickly that isn't for me. Like my job is the underground and to bring up the new and emerging artists and kind of provide a home for people who are just looking to get into bass music, and like be reflective of the underground culture and like where it came from. So from the promoter standpoint, like, hell yeah, I was ready. I wanted to have my own space where I could control the narrative as far as what the experience was like, what sound system I had in there, not having to move that sound system, being able to soundproof the room around the sound system.
Y'all got a thick sound system.
We do.
It's a beautiful sound system.
I appreciate that. And we've done a lot of work on that room too, just to make it sound the way that it does there.
Yeah,
and so,
if you have a bad sound system in Denver, like the fuck are you doing?
I know, seriously.
Like it's disrespectful.
It's disrespectful. What's disrespectful is that people are still paying for tickets to go to those rooms when they have the option, many options, to go to other rooms with better sound systems.
Oh, I went to a room here in Denver when I first moved out here after going to like Black Box,
Yeah.
Cervantes,
Yeah.
Mission, and I'm just like, yeah, no, why?
I know.
Why?
I know.
How are they still open?
How
it's like,
are they still
It's like having a bad restaurant in New Orleans. You know what I mean? It's like, it just don't make no damn
No,
sense.
it doesn't. I know. So, from a standpoint of production and promotion and like being able to book the artists and such, I was definitely ready to kind of be able to cultivate our own experience. And, but when it came to like actually knowing what the hell I was doing as far as the venue went, it was just like, I kind of like was able to pick and choose, the things that I liked and didn't like that were happening at other venues to try to cultivate like what needed to happen here. And at the Black Box, it was always people first. And so trying to pick the right staff, and just kind of set the right standards. Like, I'm a very firm believer that like we should be able to govern ourselves inside the space, and like, security is just there for protection, not for any other purpose. And so it was kind of a learning process, and extremely stressful one. My mom passed away like 3 months, not even a month, like we opened in November and she passed away December 17th. And so it was an extremely stressful time opening, and like leading up to the opening. I was flying back and forth to Philly every other week, and
Damn, so you weren't even living out here.
I was living here, but I was flying back to Philly, to like see her and spend time.
Got
like
you,
if
got you.
something happened, you
Yeah.
know? And so it took up all of my bandwidth, and then she passed away, and I just basically buried myself into work. I was working all day and all night and just like never leaving the Black Box, basically trying to learn as much as I could. And like, I mean, even the first night we opened, I would be like, oh shit, I need to move this stage, or I need to change something. I call up my contractor and I'm like, what are you doing at 3 a.m.? We need to cut half of this stage off immediately for night 2, And so it was just like the ebb and flow of like learning how the business side of that worked, right? And what was the best for space and safety, and like being given the fact that our building, I think, was 1920. We have a lot of problems. And we've had to redo like almost everything. And so most of our money has gone into rebuilding the building. And, it's just something that kind of comes with the territory. So at this point now I'm a plumber. I could do electrical if I wasn't so afraid of it. I could be a bartender if I ever needed to, so you just learn a whole bunch of different skills that you never had before, and hope for the best.
It's fucking tight though. I mean, going from a teacher, they're like throwing events. I'm all right. I'm gonna start this fucking business, not knowing, but
Yeah.
figuring it out.
Totally.
It's inspiring.
Thanks.
I mean, it's just what everyone should go do. Like,
Yeah.
drop out of school.
Quit what you love just to do something you actually love.
Yes.
I mean, the thing is like, follow your dreams, right? Like, if you have one, do it. Do the best that you can. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what it's about, right? Doing better today than I did yesterday, right?
Right, 1% better every day.
Exactly. That's it.
Yeah, I might be like negative 2% better today than I
That's
was
just 'cause your
yesterday.
weekend was crazy.
Yeah,
You can fast forward +4.
Yeah,
after this
tomorrow
other
I'll
year,
make it up.
Right.
dude. But one thing I think is so cool, just from talking to you, it's like the residency thing is honestly one of the coolest things I've heard about so far. Because like I see that with comedy clubs, right? Where like I know Comedy Works and like the Denver Improv, like they have these residents where it's just constantly giving them opportunities. Do any other venues in Denver, as far as dance music, do that?
I don't think so.
That's fucking cool, dude.
Yeah, thanks.
It's fucking cool.
Yeah, I think it's important, I mean, these people are our future, and they're the ones out there representing, right? And
Yeah.
they should have the opportunity to get up on stage and play with the people that they want and, inspire the crowd.
What's it like beefing with other venues, dude? Y'all got some behind the scene beef, dude? Is it cutthroat out here?
Whew, let's see. We could also... I'm not allowed to say half of this stuff because I'd like to stay open, but I do plan to write a book one day and tell
Nice.
you all the secrets, or we can just reschedule another podcast for when I do decide to retire.
Hell yeah.
I will spill all the beans, but no, I mean, at the end of the day, like Cervantes and like Cervantes was my home, you know? Those people there are like my family. And it was one of the hardest decisions that I had to make, was to decide to open a venue and leave there.
Be the competition.
Yeah, you know? So I don't have any beef with them, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Like we talk. I talk to them all the time. If I have a business question, I call up Duncan. If Evan and I are talking about artists, you know, and like it's one of the things that I've had to realize early was what I wanted my place to be in this music industry, because you could eat yourself alive thinking, oh, I need to be bigger or better or this or that, right? Like, that's not what it's about, you know? Everyone has a place, and as long as you're comfortable with what your place is, then there really shouldn't be any problems, right? And like, I know what the Black Box's point is, and I know what my place is in this industry. And so I bring up the artists who are going to play Red Rocks next year, you know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. And I know the bigger venues are watching what we're doing and then taking them to the, you know, to bigger. And that's just the business side of it, you know? And luckily with Sub.Mission, I can still be a part of some of those journeys. And, you know, with the agency or with just Sub.Mission events in general. And that's okay for me, you know? So Cervantes and I have a really healthy conversations all the time about artists that should move up the venue into Cervantes or the Ogden or Real Works, Red Rocks. Same thing, you know, with AEG. Like, I don't as much collaborate with them as much as I did in the beginning days of when like dubstep was around and they were taking me out to lunch every week, like asking me who they should book because they didn't have any of the connections. Once they had those connections, they didn't necessarily need me anymore. So it was very much still up to the artist if they wanted to bring Sub.Mission along, because I was the one who booked all of those people first, second, third, fourth time in Denver. So really those relationships just became what they were. I will say more and more these days, I do kind of collaborate with AG as much, you know, more and more now, because my agency lineup roster is stacked, and like I couldn't be more proud of a lot of these guys, and they're killing it. And so, you know, whether they're direct support, or going to be headlining their own, you know, their own AEG venues or Red Rocks or Real Works or whatnot. So I am kind of more in the boat with them, and also promoting some of the artists that I've booked and brought up, you know, for AEG. So
have you had like a big company like that, like AEG, try to buy you out?
Not AEG, but I have had a company try to buy me out before, like many years ago.
Starts with Live, ends with Nation.
No, unfortunately, or fortunately not. You know, I like said it then, and I'll say it now. Like, our companies would never really be for sale. Like, when the Black Box, when I feel like my time has come, and by that I mean for 20 years I've given my entire life, you know, like, to the music industry and to other people. It comes with a lot of downfalls, you know, when you invest everything you have into businesses and into other people. You know, your personal life, you don't really get a personal life because you're constantly doing things for other people. And when it comes time for me, I will just end the Black Box, you know? Like, I would never sell it. It wouldn't become a thing that, like, I would ever let anyone take control of, you know? It was a dream, and it had a point, and that it would just end, you know? The time would just come, so.
You don't have, like, a protege?
I mean, I do have people, but, like, I think, you know, we all kind of feel the same, honestly, you know? It's like, it would just be different, you know? And like, at the end of the day, if we start having to book more music that we're actually not feeling just to stay open,
Oh, that sucked.
that isn't what we opened for, right? And so that's just kind of where we're at.
Did you have to do stuff like that in the beginning?
No.
Nice.
More so now, you know what I mean? But no, like, that's the thing. Like, I've been able to stay true to my mission this whole entire time. And I'm not really one that would change that. I'm very honest and open, and like, like I said, if I have to start booking more bullshit just to stay open, we're not a venue, you know what I mean? That's just open to have music 4 nights a week, you know? We're a venue that is providing locals opportunities to run their crews in the lounge and to push their sound and gather their community in a safe space and to have events in the main room, you know, with some of the you know, people that we respect musically, right? And so if that ever changed, it would change the ethos of the Black Box, right? So if we can't, what's the point?
And I mean, y'all are one of the, maybe the only one, but definitely one of the few that can do that. I mean, it's your curated lineups, you know what I mean? Like handpicked, where it's like all these other venues, especially with like an AEG or Live Nation, like they have the tours coming through. So they're just booking the tours. They don't care about like who's up there. They're just booking the tours,
Totally.
you know? So that's kind of, I mean, it's crazy and fucking cool that you might be the only one doing that out here.
I know. We are definitely the only ones doing that out here for the most part. I think Serves, you know, with some of their bass shows does it, but as far as like consistently just booking, you know, as far as on a consistent basis, you know, every time we're open, it is most definitely what our thing is. You know?
Yeah. You tired of bass music yet?
I've been tired of bass music for like 14 years. I honestly don't listen to music much, like other than when I'm inside the venue and like working on booking lineups and like finding people, you know. I like to listen to podcasts.
That's all I listen to now, dude. I listen to podcasts more than anything right now.
Totally. And just, or nothing, you know. It's just like so nice to hear nothing. You know, you grow up in a venue, you know, and you're in there all the time. It's a lot.
Yeah. Let's talk about the agency right now. So thanks for all the Black Box stuff. I think what you're doing is fucking awesome. I've learned a lot about that. But who all do you book for the agencies? I mean, running an agency, it's tough. Like, I mean, just building one up from the ground. I mean, is it? Forgive me if I'm wrong here. It sounds harder than opening up a venue out here.
It's like, you know, the thing is for us is that everything has just kind of flowed into itself naturally, which is why I believe that it's been the right decisions, you know, with throwing events under Sub.Mission for so many years, like that naturally flowed into like artists being like, hey, you're a teacher and you're organized. Could you book a tour? You know, and back then there was no visas, right? So it was like not as difficult as it is these days.
What do you mean no visas? Like people could just come and play from other countries?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And
nice.
So,
Nice.
And so it wasn't like as much of a thing because the music wasn't popular. Yeah, I mean, there was visas, don't get me wrong, but for dubstep DJs from England, you know, like no one even knew who they were, right? And so it just kind of naturally, it kind of just naturally went into like becoming an agent. And because I was a teacher, I would hold internships. And so where kids could come in and learn different aspects of the music industry for college credit.
Oh,
and
shit,
so,
that's neat.
It was really cool. And so I still do this to these days. I work with a bunch of the colleges. And so I would do like Sub.Mission radio show, you know, radio channel, so kids could learn how to do broadcasting and radio, or Sub.Mission agency, production, promotion, marketing, whatever. And so it kind of, you know, as I would bring on interns, they would learn the ropes and then they could become agents, you know, and so it just kind of also led to like jobs for people, which I thought was really cool. And it gave people an opportunity to kind of check out the different, you know, areas of the industry and find what they actually really liked. You know? And so then you would be getting the best work from people, which is obviously what you want and what you want for them. And so the agency kind of just naturally grew like that. I would find people, they would be interns, they'd then become agents. We would then represent different artists, you know, and for the most part, it was like the international dubstep artists, but we represented a lot of local Colorado artists as well.
Name drop real quick. Do you flex on us? What's that roster looking like?
So right now, I mean, like, for my personal roster, I represent like Monty, Visage, Drone, Mala, Komodo, Buca's Finest, Cartridge, Mia Coden, Sicaria.
Dude, you got a weird taste of music, and I fucking love it, dude.
Corey Pfaff, he's one of my agents. He kills it as a national agent, literally hands down. Probably one of the better national agents that I know. And he represents like Turnian Sound, The Whittler, Push Loop, Enigma Dubs, Torcha, Creso, and just like some up and coming. Also the Allo Collective. There's some boys out of Denver, Park Breezy, TF Mars, killing it. Alex Unger from Salt Lake City. More on that lo-fi hip hoppy type beats. Very amazing boys. Proud of them.
I don't know what the thought of like. I'm glad you said like lo-fi because I'm like I don't know why deep dark in Salt Lake City sounds so funny to me. like a deep dub guy from Salt Lake City,
Yeah,
just nicely dressed.
I mean, there used to be one club. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know if deep dubstep in Salt Lake City exists anymore. To be honest,
Yeah.
it did at one point, briefly, and I don't think it was too big of a scene, but they tried, and that's what's most important.
Hell yeah! I remember I booked. We didn't have a deep scene in Jackson, Mississippi. I booked the Whittler and Thellum.
Oh, sweet.
And at a fucking small venue, dude, we were bringing down the roof. We brought so much bass in there,
bet.
dude. But it didn't hit just because, I mean, like, but I was like jacked up to get the
Totally.
Whittler
Hell yeah.
and Thellum out in Mississippi, but the deep scene wasn't quite there.
No, I bet. Thellum's a bad man, though. I'm
He is
glad
a
he's
bad
kind of
man.
coming back. And Whittler, obviously.
Yeah, he
one
rules.
Of the OGs. Yeah. But we also have, like, some like, more dub reggae guys, like Mungo's Hi-Fi. They have a sound system in England, and they kind of come over here with their DJs and their vocalists. Mad Professor, DJ Mad, Lauren from California is one of my agents, and she kind of represents that sound, as well as Distinct Motive, obviously.
God, he is
A bad man.
he's on fucking fire.
Yeah, totally. He's going to have a big year for sure.
I mean, I'd imagine so.
He deserves it, And like the one thing that I have to say I'm super proud of with the agency is that like all of the artists that are on the agency are like proper musicians, proper people, right? Not only do they care about their music and push themselves to be the best that they can do, they can be, they are like genuine human beings who care and have feelings and like want to do things for the best of the culture, and it's not like me attitude. It's us, them, how we, you know what I mean? Like how we can build and help the scene be better, right? Which I think is amazing. We were talking about earlier about those people who aren't afraid to stand up and be good examples. I have to say that our roster is full of people that are very good examples for the up and coming generations. So
How much are you able to like? How hard is it to take on a new artist right now?
I mean, you can. The thing is that there's so many new artists who think that getting an agent is going to change their world, and it's like not the case, So the hardest part is like having these conversations with people, like, one, are you even ready for an agent? Like, do you understand what the relationship between an agent and an artist is? Like that's the biggest thing, you know what I mean? I think, which is the most difficult, but it's just, for me personally, balancing my time is the hardest part, because if I'm going to take on, and this is what I tell all my agents, if you're going to take on a client, you need to be able to give them your adequate time that you would give all your other clients. And if not, it's not fair to them. But the thing is that there's not many agencies really anymore, like there used to be a million agencies, and now there's just like, the WME, the UTAs, which, are very selective. Obviously, if you're not bringing in the bucks, you're not getting assigned to those agencies. Wasserman, I think pretty much the same. They do have, some tweener artists, I think, that like, they see the potential and want to build, which is good. But as far as like boutique agencies, there's not, you know what I mean? Like there's not really too many going on right now that have been able to stay consistent. So I think a lot of artists are trying to figure out where they fit in. And I think a lot of artists right now are going through this like mind flip on where do they want to fit in the music industry, And
I'm with the boutique agency, and I love it.
what's your agency?
AB
Oh, yeah,
Torn,
right.
Alex and Brian.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
totally.
they're. I've been with them since the jump.
Yep.
And I mean, I love being with a boutique one. I mean, I hate calling them boutique
I
agency,
know.
but they'd probably say the same thing. But it's just like I could call them at any point, any time, and they got me. I feel like those bigger agencies, like
Yeah.
they ain't gonna do all that.
No, they definitely don't. Yeah, that's cool. I know them well. Brian, I've known for many, many years, just even as a promoter before he was even doing agency stuff. You know? So I think they're good guys, you know, and you're right. Like, and it's just a different level of care, you know, and a different level of service that you get, because at that point you're still working with people who are actually invested in your career, not in your dollar signs,
right?
You know? And they want to help you build, and they have creative ideas that they want to share. And it's not just like, talk to your manager, talk to your advancing person, do that. You know what I mean? Like, it's more of a team.
Oh yeah, they picked me up when there were no dollar signs.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
totally.
Just because they fucked with me.
Totally, which is important.
Yeah,
and they're the people that have your back. You know, and it's important.
You said something a second ago, and I want you to explain it. I know the answer to it, but I want people to hear it. You're like, the hardest part is explaining to an artist, like, you're not ready for an agency. When is an artist ready?
I mean, an artist is ready for an agent when they are playing out of state on a pretty consistent basis, you know, and they're traveling and there's a lot of interest. You know, ideally, right, an artist should be focusing on their craft, which is making music, right? Or maybe these days, videos and all the other marketing things that come.
It gets stressful. It's gotten stressful now, dude. It ain't just the music anymore.
It's not music anymore, right? Exactly. But that's where the artist should be, right? And so when it starts to become difficult for an artist to be doing that and handling everything else, then they're ready for an agent, you know? And I think, you know, that's like a fine step, because some people think like, oh, I play 10 times in my city every week, you know? Like, that's not what we need, you know? We need to see that there's people that are interested in you around the country, and that, you know, you're getting heard, and people are wanting you, you know what I mean, are wanting to see you come into their cities. So I think that's pretty much the easiest way to say it. You know, I think there's other things that we look for. Like, I like to have conversations with any new signing just to make sure they're on like the same page as us. Like, we're not going to make you famous. We work for you. You know, you have to be creative. You have to put out music. You have to put out content. It is an unfortunate part of being a musician these days, comes with all these marketing clauses on contracts these days, you know, or whatnot. You have to be responsible for yourself and for your career and care enough about it to do all of those things properly so that we can take that and do something with it, you know? Because I think there's a lot of people out there that think they just sign with an agency and they expect their life to change like in an instant. And maybe sometimes like those manufactured superstars, as I like to call them, you know, like
industry plants.
Yes, that is true to them, you know, for them. But they're going to last 10 minutes, and you have to think about your career for the next however many years you want to be a part of it, you know? And so I think understanding that you have a role to play in your own career is really important.
Dude, what is your perspective on like this new age shit, right? So like you grew up in the underground scene where it's like, oh, that tune's dope. Yeah. That tune's tight. To now it's like, yo, that dude's got 500,000 followers on TikTok. We got to book him.
I know.
How lame is this shit to you, dude?
Fucking lame as hell.
Because I be doing shit just to like get some engagement. And I'm like, I hate myself. But
your things are funny. Like, low key, if me and you could make some videos like you and M-Ports ones, that would be sick. I want dance moves and like.
Dude, there was a time where we're naked. I'm like, dude, what are we doing? We're artists.
It's so funny.
But at this point, I'm like, I'm almost naked on the internet. I'll really do anything at this point. At this point, we're just here to stay at this point.
Oh, it's so funny though. But I mean, like, I think, oh man, it's really sad when I see certain venues like booking the TikTok superstars, you know, because I get those emails too, you know, like, and I just quickly delete them because that's not really the vibe of the Black Box. But it is, unfortunately, like even going back and talking about like the purpose of the Black Box, there's a lot of venues out there who will just book that shit just to stay open and have a night, you know?
Oh yeah.
And unfortunately, those nights are banking because like they're pretty relatively cheap when it comparatively to a bass music DJ. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty cheap ticket. It's also like this generic fan base who comes in and like wants to get completely shit-faced because it's like girls' night out, you know what I mean? Or like some bachelor party or some bullshit, you know? And like the bars kill it and they make money on the tickets, right? So I can see like why venues would want to do that, but it hurts every part of my body that it happens,
Yeah.
you know? And like, it's just, oh man, it's just a part of this music industry that has changed. Like the landscape has changed so much, right? Over the past, I mean, Jesus, even with this stuff, the past 5 years,
Yeah.
you know? Like, oh, it's crazy.
I can't tell you how many like artists that I know that are incredible producers who like sell their soul. You know what I mean? Who have to sell their soul and do the do now, and they're like, I fucking hate it, but it's working, man. It's just like, you know, we all see it. We all know what's going on. Other DJs we talk about it, we're like, dude, we just hate the way we have to do this nowadays. But it's just, you know, it's just
part of it.
yeah. Like I said, at this point, I'll do anything, and I'm damn near naked on the internet. You know.
Totally. I mean, I think it has to be so difficult as a producer right now because like the oversaturation, like we're talking about oversaturation in Denver, the oversaturation in the world to get one of your tunes, like it's almost like you need a naked TikTok video in order for people to hear your songs.
Right,
anymore,
right.
You know? And so it's like, oh, it has to be so challenging and frustrating because I couldn't imagine what it feels like for people who put their heart and soul into making art and then it maybe doesn't get the response that you expected it to because, you know, to you it was everything and that is important. You know, you should be making music that you feel and that you like and that you support, right? And so putting everything you have into something and then like having it not get as many purchases or followers or whatever, like you don't see it translate like it used to, that has to be difficult.
Oh, it
know?
sucks.
Yeah.
I know some artists that like it's killed them to the point where they're like, I just can't do this anymore.
Totally,
I'm done. I'm
totally.
out. I can't do this anymore. It's hurting my mental health. Like it's just like I want to make these tunes, but I'm having to focus on this post, and this post isn't doing.
Yes.
And then so now that frustration translates into the studio.
Yeah.
You're like, I got to make something that could go viral, and you're like, that's not genuine.
Totally.
That's not genuine.
No. It's really sad because I think, and I hope I'm wrong, but I think we're going to see a lot of musicians.
Bring it just a little closer.
Sorry,
No,
yeah.
you can bring it to you.
I know.
We're gonna see a lot of musicians.
I think we're going to see a lot of musicians kind of maybe leave the industry in the next couple years because of things like that, you know. I hope I'm wrong,
I
but
hope
it's
so
kind of
too.
a trend that I'm starting to see, and I think I don't know how to change that, you know? Like, what can we do? You know, these are the conversations that need to be happening, you know? What can we do to support each other? What can we do to help, you know, make a change? Because we don't want to see the artists that we love, you know, sign out, right? And, like, bow out to the TikTok superstar or...
the AI DJ.
Yes, the AI DJ, you know? Like, we want to prevent that, obviously, and we also want to make the people's music, you know, I think the thing about music for me is the way that it makes me feel, and that's how I connect to a producer, and that's how I got into the music that I promote, and it's why I book the people I book, right? So, and it's my favorite part about having a venue, because now I get to watch these people having those same experiences to that sound and to that person that changed my life, right? How do we continue to provide experiences for that to happen and opportunities for that to happen for producers, you know? The Black Box, obviously, I can book them and put them in front of an audience, but that's only a very small thing, you know? On a larger scale, how do we help music sales? How do we help unbury tunes from this oversaturated market, you know? Like, these are the things that we need to make a list and start shouting it from rooftops, you know?
Yeah,
And
well, God bless you for starting the Black Box, because it is one of, like I said, it's you got your residencies. It's not just tours coming through. You're picking it out, and you don't give a fuck about the TikToks. You're like, what's that music like?
Right.
You know, God bless you for that. You know,
Yeah.
because I mean, you're one of the few. Guys, I mean, like you said, it'd just be easy to go book those people and just
Totally.
sell out every fucking weekend.
Totally.
You know, but
Yeah.
you'd be dead on the inside.
Dead on the inside.
Speaking of dead on the inside, dude, does it make you sad a little bit whenever, like, all right, I know it makes you happy to see them go and do bigger things, but like you built up an artist in the Black Box, a killer residents, but now they've kind of outgrown and they're off doing things. Is there a part of you that's just like, fuck,
All right. Do you have tissues? Like
You can use this
I'll
weed.
use that weed.
Use this top shelf weed. Shout out Top Shelf in Washington. Y'all go check them out.
Shout out pre-rolls. I could use.
Show the camera the jar real quick.
That's some stanky weed, dude.
Yep. We don't have our third camera today, so
I don't even get high.
Sure
That
they see it.
that looks dangerous, don't it?
That looks insane. I want to smell that actually.
Yeah, it looks dangerous.
What is this called?
Tropicana cherry. Did I say that right? Tropicana?
Yep.
Tropicana. Dude, this
And
weed looks
cherry
like it
gelato.
fucking get me
Oh
get
my
me
Lord, that
speaking
smells so
Jamaican,
good.
dude. I started a Jamaican
just got-
accent after I started smoking this shit.
Got the scent over here.
I'd be having anxiety. Welcome to my anxiety attack with lemon cherry gelato.
Dude, let's take this podcast on a wild ride and let's just start panicking.
If you don't mind me just sweating out over here in the corner, I just smoked a joint from Top Shelf.
I'm gonna tell you my deepest, darkest secrets. Things that embarrassed me from when I was a kid.
Crying in the corner. We need to turn off all the lights. Oh man, yeah, but on it's something I definitely had to learn how to cope with, because in the beginning, when it first started happening, and by that I mean starting to get letters from management companies telling me that I could no longer speak to certain artists because we weren't allowed to have a personal relationship. It would piss me off more than you could understand, because it's like, dude, you just lived in my basement for 6 months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You shit in my toilet and now you can't even talk to me. You know what I mean? What are you talking about? You know, like,
Sounds like a divorce.
I'm saying, and that's kind of like emotionally, like I said, if I'm supporting musicians that I like their music and have this emotional connection with, it's more than just like, you know, such and such moving on to a different agency or, you know, a bigger venue that I can't book, right? It was those things that really hurt my feelings, because I don't think you have to change who you are as a person to get bigger in this industry. And that's a myth. You know, like, you can be true to yourself. You can still call the shots, because again, agents work for artists.
Mm-hmm.
Talent buyers book artists and they'll do what the artist wants, you know? Case in point corporations who just say, here's 100 G's, book whatever you want to do, you know, or whatnot, right? So, like, staying true to yourself is so important, and I, like, literally respect the heck out of the people who can do that, because I can see how it can get a bit tricky and how money can be dangling in your face, and, you know, maybe you think that's the best move for you, but, like, being a shitty person, you're always going to lose, you know? So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was something I had to get used to, though, because it definitely happens, you know? And I can't knock the people who, like, leave the agency to go on to bigger agencies and still stay true, and we can still have conversations. Like, that's amazing. Good for you, you know? It's the same thing. I used to book Excision and all of those guys, and then they went on, you know, to AEG. During those times, I was still promoting those events, you know, even when they got bigger and were doing their own things, I was still promoting. But, like, there can be this, like, harmonious relationship. It doesn't have to be toxic. And, like, whoever makes it that way, I don't know where that comes from, you know, like, if it's the agent or really the manager or whatnot, but, like, that shit should stop.
Yeah. Yeah, it does get fucking weird sometimes, dude.
Weird.
I know I had
Just cutthroat, right? Like, we're all in this together. At the end of the day, we're all playing a part in this whole game, you know?
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be like that.
And I can just tell you from my experience, I mean, there are times where, like, I forgot that I was in charge.
Yeah.
You know, I had, like, older managers who would, like, do this, and I would just kind of, like, do whatever, or do whatever they say.
Yeah.
Eventually I got to a point where I'm like, no,
Yeah.
what are you going to do?
Yeah. And that's it.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be, at the end of the day, you want the team of people who support what you want to do, right? Because if you have people who are telling you to do something you don't want to do, what the hell are they on your team for, you know? Like, build your team of people who support your mission, and then your mission will continue to grow authentically, and no one can stand in your way, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I don't know if it's just, like, the fear, you know, and I don't know what it is, you know, but I do feel like, regardless, like, it doesn't have to be so cutthroat out there. And, like, we can all be good people.
Has the cutthroatness gotten worse? Because I mean, like you said, there's not as many smaller agencies. It's all like just big corporations at this point, mostly.
I mean, I think for me personally, I don't know if it's because I've learned how to cope and to not let those types of things bother me as much anymore, or if it was just, I don't know. I don't feel like it's gotten worse. I feel like the cutthroat as far as the way agents are with promoters in cities is definitely worse because, you know, it's not as much about the music to everybody and it's about the product. And it's, if you want to be a product for your agent, then that's cool. But I think that sucks, you know? And like, I just think that, you know, how your agent represents you is so important. And I think that part kind of sucks, you know? It's like if I'm having, even today, you know, I own an agency. I've been throwing events for 20 years. I probably booked every dubstep DJ that exists that's doing anything huge for, you know, at least their first time. Like, I own a venue, and I still have civil conversations with people and hardly ever have to bring the Philly out, you know?
Oh, how Philly do you get?
Oh, I can be fucking Philly.
Oh, you'll throw on an Eagles hat and fucking throw a bottle at somebody, dude?
If I have to.
That's what I love about Philly people. They're disgusting, and that's why I love them.
Exactly. I mean, and that's the thing. It's like, but I can still have a conversation, you know? Like with a promoter, if they're like, you know, I want to book this person in this market, and I only have this much money, you know? It's like, okay, well, I like to explain to them, well, this person plays larger venues in this market, you know, and like explain how the business works, because I think a lot of times you hear the term gatekeeping, and like if we're talking gatekeeping, we are talking about big agencies who are like, oh, well, if you want to book this person, you have to book 50 of our other clients. Hence why we see these lineups for festivals that are all certain agencies, you know? Like that is gatekeeping. That is not culture. That is not community, you know?
And that's real.
That's real.
That's very real.
Oh,
I mean, like I know like there's some festivals and stuff like these bigger festivals, they don't even talk to my agents a lot of time because they'll just go ahead and get their whole lineup for another agency, even though like we'll have like the ticket history that you would need. And it's just like, because we're not on the bigger agency, that's the gatekeeping. That shit's real.
That is real. And kids these days consider gatekeeping like, hey, I wanted to book such and such in this market, but I only have $1,000. Well, such and such plays venues 3,000 times your capacity and makes 3,000 times more what you're offering. It's not going to work, you know? That's just not the move, you know, in order for them to be better, you know what I mean? Or to grow, you know what I mean? And get the numbers that you need to get on these big festivals to prove yourself that you can break through the restraints of these gates, you know? But like, you know, but hey, let's talk about an after party, you know what I mean? Like when such and such plays there, let's talk about an after party and do something cool that's a little bit more, you know, on that level or whatnot. But that's not gatekeeping. I mean, artists naturally just grow, you know, and it's like, even at the Black Box, like, I mean, I can't call up Excision and be like, hey, come and play the Black Box, you know? He ain't gonna come and play the Black Box.
He just brings pyro.
Blows us up, you know what I mean? And that's where Nicole starts to retire.
Yeah.
You know? So, but I can't do that. I mean, there are some artists who do come back and play the Black Box, obviously, but like, it's just not the way it works in this industry, unfortunately. And it is the artist's decision at the end of the day, you know? But like, my whole point being with like the cutthroat is, as an agent, I can have those conversations, and the promoter or whatnot might take it that I'm being, you know, rude or whatnot, but I'm just trying to tell the truth, you know? Whereas larger agents, agents on different agencies, I'll hit up to book their artists at the Black Box, and they don't even reply to me, you know? Or they're like, yeah, send me an offer. Or they'll hit me up and say, hey, send me an offer. And then I'll send an offer, and then they never say anything again. Well, what did you think? I was going to pay 50 G's for this guy to come into the Black Box for an hour? Like, you're kidding me, right?
Right.
You know?
What's the cap on the Black Box?
350 people.
Yeah, there's no way. 50 G's. Yeah, there's no way.
And so it's like, just like these unrealistic expectations, but like, let's just have a conversation. Like, if instead of just saying like, hey, send me your best offer and then never talking to me again, like, now what I'll say is, well, why don't you explain to me what the point is here? What are you looking to get out of your artist playing the Black Box, you know? Let me understand the reasoning behind it, because I'd rather hear the plan and be a part of it than just being, like ghosted, you know what I mean? Like, or whatever. Or same thing with like larger artists, like, oh, we have history in the market. Well, yeah, with me. But now your history is with AEG, and so if they step back and play the black box now, then they're not going to be on Mission next week, or
AEG's
they
gonna
can't
be
do
pissed.
this. Right,
Yeah.
exactly. When in reality, I don't even, like, I wonder if that's real and how real that is. And I might just have to ask them, like, point blank, because, like, wouldn't a play at the black box for a good ticket price on the best sound system in the city just help an artist? You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't it just help AEG? It's not like they're paying money out of their pocket. It's a business, you know? Like, I'm paying money out of my pocket. The money I'm paying you is coming from your fans who are coming to play and who want to see this amazing, intimate, experience or whatnot. Like, it wouldn't hurt, like, artists who are selling out Real Works or Mission Ballroom or whatever. Like, it wouldn't hurt their career to do, an underplay, right?
Yeah, I
Like,
don't think it's a thing in Denver. I know it's a thing in other markets that
Yeah.
I've heard about. Like, if you go work with this promoter, you're gonna be black. We won't book you on
Yes.
anything for the next a year and a half, 2 years, and you won't be on our festival that we
Yeah.
do. Like, that is a thing in other places.
I know.
That's gatekeeping.
That's gatekeeping.
Mm-hmm.
That is gatekeeping. It's crazy. Like, all of that is just crazy to me.
How crazy is it in this day and age with the internet being involved, right? So where like you put your fucking heart and soul to putting this show together to make it the best experience that happens, and then someone goes online and talks shit, and it's the biggest tweet out that day.
Yeah.
And it's just like now everyone's talking shit about the black box because
Yeah.
they think it's cool.
Totally. Oh, man, the internet. Burn it down. Wouldn't it make all of our lives easier if we didn't have to do anything on
Yeah.
the internet?
Yeah.
As far as promotion and marketing, we don't have to see your naked ass anymore on there.
Oh,
for
that's a
shows.
bummer.
I mean,
I know Kyle really looks forward to it.
Every day.
But, I mean, honestly, I think that usually it's the people who aren't doing anything that are the ones that are saying the bullshit, I actually just posted
I was about to
this
say,
on my Motivation Monday post
I think I
today.
just saw you tweet
Yes.
that. I heard something the other week that made me really happy, and it
Yeah.
was like people use your name to talk shit because when they talk about themselves, no one gives a fuck.
Exactly, 100%. And like make shit up. I literally have people make shit up. Like, oh, I'm banned from the black box. Oh, really? Show me the proof that
Yeah.
says I'm banned. I banned you from the black box.
Yeah,
Like,
show me the birth certificate.
like, give me the receipts. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Why is it even? Like, I don't know. I don't even really pay those people no mind, because those people just want to be heard.
Yeah.
And the more you want to talk to them, the more you get involved to try to defend yourself or your business or whatever, the more they're just going to go on and on, because that's what they're there for, is to go on. It's like that fly that won't leave, Like, they don't really deserve, you know what I mean? They don't deserve that attention because it's like misguided anyway. But yeah, the internet, I just still think like Twitter, hopefully that goes away soon. I think Twitter is the most toxic environment that exists.
Yeah.
Keyboard warriors who do nothing and participate, people who probably have never even seen you play, but they have everything to say about it.
Or have no idea who you are as a
Yeah,
person.
exactly.
Honestly, who have the most fun comments, like nice but also just silly, is
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
they have the
I agree.
nicest, but they'll roast you in a fun way.
Yeah.
They're not just roasting you to be mean. Like, I love a good roast when it's fucking funny.
Totally.
Like, how can you not?
Totally, I know. Which I think is like should maybe become a little bit more part of our culture, because then maybe people wouldn't be so butthurt when like somebody does call them out on their shit or like is real with them, right? Because I think that's another issue that we deal with, is the sensitivity of like our human race, you
Yeah.
know? Like, I'm just like growing up in Philadelphia, like we're
Talking shit.
We are shit talkers, but if I ain't talking shit and I ain't talking to you, chances are I don't care about you,
The same in the South.
I'm the hardest on the people that I care about and that I love the most, because I see the potential and I want you to be there. I want you to see what I see in you, you know? And like, yeah, I mean, I just feel like people just don't get that. Like, God forbid if you tell somebody, hey, like, this didn't go the way it needed to go. Let's talk about solutions and strategies, or like, yeah, call somebody out. Like, oh my God, it's like, you're the devil.
Yeah, when you're just calling him a cocksucker and you're just trying to say, "Hey, buddy, how are you doing?"
Yeah, exactly,
You know, that's
exactly.
dude. Yeah, that's how it was growing up in South. I mean, everyone shit talks. It's a love language.
Totally,
it really is a
exactly,
love
totally.
language.
I agree with that.
Yeah, yeah. I was curious about that. About that because I've had a couple like promoters on the show, and it just like reputations can get ruined just because someone had a bad experience and they're getting their biggest suite ever because they're talking shit.
Yeah, which I think is why like it's really important. Earlier when we were talking about artists and building the foundation and having just being true to yourself and like sticking to your mission. Like I think that is one thing that's really important because like I'm not going to give you a reason to talk shit. Because I'm going to do what I said I'm going to do every single time. And you might not agree with it, but I'm not asking you to agree with it. It's my decision to make, It's my business to run. It's my thing, or whatever the situation is, I'm, at the end of the day, the one that has to go to sleep or try to sleep with whatever I decided to do, right? So it's just like, staying true to yourself, keeping true to your mission, showing people that I am who I say I am every single day. And that continues to help build your fan base and build your following and build your supporters. So when shit like that does happen, it's not, your fault. Like even though you might have your 5 people who, got hurt because they didn't win a DJ battle or whatever the reason is, you have 100 other people who are like, hell no, that's not the case. You know what I mean? Like, this person, this company, this artist or whatnot has done nothing but the best, And so I think not giving people the reasons, like people are always going to talk shit, right? I mean, there's going to be the internet. That's kind of like the point. And I think some people probably just like live their lives to talk shit because they don't do anything else, So I don't know.
Talking shit is fun though.
It is. I know.
I get it.
When it's about other people.
Yeah, it is fun. When it's about you're like, fuck.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't want to see this today.
I know. Totally.
Well, dude, this has been awesome. I know we got a really good fan question in, but before I get to that, Kyle, do you have anything you wanted to ask Miss Nicole?
Oh, yeah. If you had to give a 30-minute lecture right now, what subject are you lecturing about?
That's a fucking great question,
that's
dude.
a great question.
That's one of the best questions you've had.
Thank you.
Best question you've had in the new studio.
Yeah, so far.
How about gardening?
Oh, nice.
Gardening?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
It doesn't. You mean music industry related
Anything.
or anything? I mean, honestly, I think I would give a lecture just about how important it is for authenticity and staying true to yourself in an industry that is so cutthroat and crazy and can easily persuade you to be something that you're not.
Oh yeah. What was the question, Kyle? Because I might want to answer that too.
If you had to give a 30-minute lecture right now, what subject would you choose to lecture on?
Football is back.
Who's your team?
New Orleans Saints.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that's not gonna be my lecture, dude. That would be fucked. Don't give a fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, have fun. That's it. Have fun, dude. Have fun.
That's a good one.
That's a good one, dude. Why not?
Yeah, that's a good one. The most important one, I think, actually, because as long as you're having fun and doing what's making you feel good, then fuck everybody else.
Yeah, dude. I like that attitude. Kyle, let's get to this question.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, how's it going? I go by Mountain Greens. My actual name is Kale, like the vegetable, but
What up, Kale?
that's not too relevant. I was calling to ask you guys, I'm kind of a younger artist and trying to crack in the scene a little bit more without promoting myself in a too arrogant of a way. But I tend to have a lot of trouble meeting promoters and people that are booking shows, partially because I feel like often when I'm around some of those people, they tend to be on a lot of drugs or just talking some bullshit. And maybe that's just me too, but I guess I was wondering what your guys' advice is for trying to make it further into the scene without having to put up with what feels like sometimes fake people. Or do I just keep making music until it's good enough that I'm getting booked because of how big my music is? Oh, and a second one, if you guys had to make one sex noise to describe who you are, please make it on the podcast right now.
Hell yeah.
All right. That's all. Once again, thank you guys. Much love to you, Mitch. Much love to you, Nicole, and doing all the things that you guys do. Have a good one.
Hell yeah, Kale. All right, let's start with the sex noise one. That's a fun one. If that would describe who we are.
You're gonna have to go first. Oh my god, I don't know if I can do it. I don't even know what sex noise would describe who I am.
Do you watch Kill Tony?
No.
Oh, damn
What
it!
is it?
It's the best live comedy show on the planet, dude. There's a new episode out tonight. You should watch it.
Is
But
it about sex noises?
no. It's just a live. It's a live podcast, stand up comics. It's easily, if you're a comedy fan, it's the best show in the
Cool.
world.
I'll check it out.
But anyway, they had Shane Gillis dressed up as Trump, and he just goes, "Ew." That's my sex noise. It's Shane Gillis doing Donald Trump. Ew.
Oh my god.
Here, actually,
That's awesome.
Enzo saved the clip because he wanted to send it to people, and I saved it because it's too fucking great. So just so you can get an idea, this is my sex noise. Oh, damn it. I'm dead air. I don't know. Maybe do yours.
T-minus 5, 4,
Do you know what,
3.
do you know what
2.
metal sounds like thin sheet metal when you wiggle it back and
Yes.
forth and it's like wow, wow,
Yeah, yeah.
wow, wow, wow.
That's it right here. That's my
Oh
sex
my god,
noise.
that's so
That
funny.
describes me.
Oh man. Ew.
Ew.
Ew. Oh yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
The Kool-Aid man.
Hey. Hell yeah.
But yeah, dude, this guy's question was literally going into exactly what we were talking about.
Yeah,
He's like,
exactly.
I don't want to do anything too arrogant.
Totally.
Got to get a little
Talking to the
arrogant, maybe.
assholes.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, unfortunately, most promoters are drunk. No, just
They're all drug dealers.
edit.
They're all drug dealers. It's all a front. They're just laundering money for the
No,
cartel.
totally. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, I think, oh man, I don't know where this person lives, but Electronic Tuesdays or a night like that is the prime way to get yourself heard by promoters or by industry people. I think, if you live in a city that doesn't have that, I do think it is important to assert yourself, because 9 times out of 10, promoters are looking for new artists. That is what they want to do. That, they might not want to spend their money on these new artists yet because, unfortunately, in their minds, you might not be worth the tickets, but I think that making sure that you get your music in front of the right people and in front of the right promoters, send them a message, go up to them at a show with a USB of your tunes, message them and say, what works for me when I get hit up by artists who are like, hey, I saw you announce this person, I would make a sick opener. Here's my mix. Here's my tune. I respect that. I want you to come and talk to me because how am I supposed to know you if you don't, if you don't come forward, I might never know who you are. Might never get you might never get an opportunity to get up on the stage. Definitely don't think waiting for your music to get to the point where people are going to recognize you is the key because that, especially in today's market, is extremely difficult.
Yeah, but you also don't want to make sure it sucks.
Correct.
Yeah, make sure it's
Yeah.
good enough.
You got to be ready.
Yeah,
Totally, of course. Like you got to be able to be ready. It's like the same conversation, like you have to be ready to get up on stage and play a set, If you're making music, it actually has to be good music and like at least not ripping different samples from different tunes and putting it together, which has happened unfortunately more times than not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think confidence and assertiveness is important.
Dude, I've said it for many years. There's a lot of power in a handshake.
Yes.
I remember whenever I was living in Mississippi and I was trying to get booked in New Orleans. Make friends with the local DJs because then they're like telling other people about it. But I'd go to the venue and like get there early and go find the promoter, shake their hand.
Yep.
Be like, hey, my name is Mitch. I go by TVBOO.
Yep.
I make music, man. I think I'd kill it opening up a show. Is there any way I can send you my music?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea
Great,
too.
dude. Handshakes all day.
Totally. Definitely. And I mean, I think showing up early, showing the promoters that you're supporting, like that would be another thing for me, like at shows, because whether it was submission days, when it was just events that I was doing at other venues or the Black Box, obviously I'm there early. So I do take notice of who shows up early for the locals, and like those are the people that you genuinely see time after time after time again, right? So if you are making those connections and walking up with the handshake, you know, chances are you're going to be remembered. So
Here's another way to do it. If they are on drugs, bring them some drugs. Fucking be like, what's up, dude? Here.
bring them some Narcan.
Yeah. Get them coked out and talk to them for hours about.
Chances are they're already coked out. And they're going to talk to you for hours, but
dude.
that doesn't mean they're your best friend.
Get them coked out and show them your music. Be like, yeah, dude, I got all these plans. We're going to do this, dude. I'm fucking going to collab with this guy. Be that dude.
Yes.
Don't do that.
Definitely don't do that. But bringing Narcan could be cool.
Yeah. You know, you bring them, dude, what could you bring them that'd be different? But like, hey, man, I brought you this Lunchable. Or, you know.
That'd be cool.
You know, I brought you, I'd remember a Lunchable.
Yeah.
You know, I love a good Lunchable.
Me too.
Or like, I brought you this candies. I know you like candies.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Sweets.
That'd be good. Someone brought me a basketball once. I appreciated that.
See, I would
Yeah.
play a lot of basketball. I'd love
we
that
have
shit.
a basketball net in the black box. That we have a keychain that hydraulically lowers it. and
Oh, that's
gets it
kick-ass.
back up.
I just bought, actually I didn't buy it. My girlfriend stole a rim from her job. And I'm just going to like hammer it onto my garage.
Totally.
Play some ball outside every now and then.
Should do it.
I played at the gym, but like it'd be cool to like just shoot around out here.
Yeah. You got a driveway right over there, right?
Yeah, we got one back there.
That'd be great.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, dude, thank you so much for being here, man.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
This has been fucking awesome. Really, I mean, you and I have never met before. You know, I've known about you for a long time. I was very, very stoked and excited that you wanted to come on today. Very blessed, man. Very, you know, the industry's a way better place because of you, man. I mean, artists should, I mean, the scene is blessed to have somebody like you. The fact that you're doing something in a scene that is so insane and you're doing it your own fucking way at your own fucking pace, exactly the way you want it, is admirable and rare out here. So I think this industry's a lot better place because of you, man.
Oh, thanks, man. I really appreciate that, honestly.
Yeah.
It's hard work.
And it pays off too. Anything else you want to let the people know before you get out of here?
On the next episode, we're going to talk about things people flush down the black box toilets that make me have to reschedule podcasts 15 times.
All right, tell me what the one that made us restart, because we were supposed to do this last week. What got flushed down the toilet last week?
Oh, man. Is this going to be...
It comes out in 3 weeks. We can cut it if you want, yeah.
Okay, well, it's up to you. But the thing that always screws us up at the black box is we have these things called shit grinders in the basement because of the amount of things that get flushed down the toilets. And the biggest thing is when girls flush their underwear or their fishnet stockings or something because it gets caught in the grinders and then it seizes up the whole system, you know, which basically means it's inoperable for us to use the toilets on the one side of the venue. But the real question is, why are these girls flushing their underwear or their stockings down the toilet, you know?
That's good. That's a fair question. I don't know if I've ever flushed my underwear.
No,
or my stockings.
Yeah. Thank
My
God.
fishnets stay on, baby.
I mean, usually this part we can keep off it, but usually it's because they're fucking shitting themselves, you know? And then these dudes are like taking home these girls with no underwear, and you're just like, think about where she's been tonight, you know?
Oh, no.
Like,
That's a
my
red
God.
flag.
Red flag.
What's more of a red flag? No underwear or that you shat yourself?
But we're the ones that know, you know, because it fucking gets stuck up in our plumbing and like we have to dig it out, you know? Like I literally had to hand scoop 50 pounds of fucking toilet paper and shit out of the fucking shit grinder last week.
And that's why you're the best.
That's my sex noise.
Yes, that's where we end it. That's where we end it. Nicole, thank you again, dude.
Yeah, totally.
Kyle, thank you.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
Thank you to everybody listening to this week's episode of Talks with Taboo. See y'all next week. Peace. Fuck yeah.
Man.